of things to live for.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2013 X-Men franchise film, The Wolverine. The film is directed by James Mangold and it stars, of course, Hugh Jackman. We have Will Young-Lee, Tai Okamoto, Rila Fukushima, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce any more names because I'll just butcher them. Right, okay, this is the second Wolverine-based film. We had Wolverine Origins, which didn't go down well with a lot of people. I have reviewed that one on the channel fairly recently. I don't think it's as bad as people make out, other than the obvious Deadpool issue. But this time round, Hugh Jackman's Logan is essentially at the beginning of the film in a fit of depression, I suppose, after what he did to Jean Grey in X-Men The Last Stand. It haunts him. He's homeless. He's drifting, and he's kind of sworn never to hurt anybody again, sort of thing. But he is sought out by Yukio, who has been sent from Japan because there is someone from Logan's past who he saved many, many years ago in Japan, who wants to kind of say goodbye, really. So he ends up cleaning up, going over to Japan, and meeting this person from his past who he saved, who is now elderly and near death. He offers Logan to give him something that he thinks that Logan has always sought, and that is a way for him to die, and to transfer his healing skills to him, because he doesn't want to die. Logan refuses, and then a whole plot unfolds with the Yakuza trying to kill the old man's granddaughter. Logan becomes weak in a sense of he is kind of poisoned by Viper. He kind of loses a lot of his healing abilities, so he can actually be hurt now, and he has to protect this granddaughter from the Yakuza who are trying to kill her so that her father can take over the company. Right, what are my thoughts on the Wolverine? Well, I think a lot of people were really looking forward to this one. I know I was. Now, I've always had a pretty soft spot for this. Not that I need to have a soft spot for it. I actually think this is really quite a good film. But I think the reason really why I've got a real soft spot for this is the first film that I took my son to the cinema to see with just me and him, from what I remember. He was about 8 at the time, and it was a 12A, which essentially is what used to be the PG. You could take a child to the cinema as long as there was an adult with them, and my son at this point was obsessed with Wolverine in particular, but he loved superheroes at this point, but he absolutely adored Wolverine. So I told him I'd take him to the cinema to watch it, and it was a really, really good time at the cinema. Now, my son, as always, I'm not sure how he feels now because he's 18 now, but I'm not sure how he feel. At the time when he saw this, he enjoyed the cinema experience, but he didn't want to watch it again, because he didn't like the fact that Wolverine lost his powers. For some reason, it felt like it, I don't know, demasculated him or something. He just didn't like that, which I thought was quite funny. I actually like that story in the film, the fact that he kind of is made a bit weaker, so there's a real risk factor to him getting involved in these huge battles and fights, and then it really adds to the drama when he kind of gets his powers back later in the film. So I actually quite like that. Now, the director James Mangold and Hugh Jackman, it's been reported and stuff, and I've seen interviews certainly with Jackman where he really wanted to deliver a top-notch Wolverine film this time round, because he knew that he kind of let the fans down on the first one. And this story, the Japan story, was very, very popular, with the Silver Samurai and all that kind of stuff. And they really wanted to do it justice. Now, I think, overall, I think they did a very, very good job with this film. Jackman, sorry, was in incredible shape for this film, and has always kind of said that he thinks this film is the first film where he really felt like he got into Wolverine type shape, how he should look. And that was because he had time to prepare for the role. He had time to get in shape for the role. And for all his shirtless scenes, apparently he kind of dehydrated himself. He went down the bodybuilding route to dehydrate himself and to try and make himself look as shredded as possible. And he absolutely looks in incredible shape in this film. I think it's stylized really, really well here. There's some fantastic, cinematic shots. There's some really exciting fights in this film with him against the Yakuza. The train sequence I have always really, really enjoyed. And then the scene where he goes up against like the ninja at the end is really, really effective. And then it does, I suppose you could argue it does disappoint when it gets to kind of like the Silver Samurai fight. But it's still pretty effective, you know what I mean? I don't really have a problem with how that kind of turned out. It just kind of felt like a bit of an anticlimax, I suppose. And then you've got that incredible ending, or post-credit scene, I suppose, where he kind of meets up with Professor X and Magneto that sets up the events for Days of Future Past, which many regard as being one of, if not the best X-Men film. So I think this is, after X-Men First Class, which again many regard to be one of the best, if not the best X-Men film. They had a lot to live up to because of the quality of that film, but they also had a lot to live up to because of the criticisms that was thrown at the previous Wolverine film, X-Men Origins. So the pressure was on really here, and I know again, Hugh Jackman has gone on to say that when they did Logan, the final one, well, it's not the final one now as we know because he's coming back in Deadpool 3. That they finally got it right on the third one. Well, I don't think they really hugely missed the mark with this one. I think it's intense. I think it's effective. I think there's some incredible fight scenes. With the whole like ninjas and samurai and Yakuza thing going off. He's got his hands full in this one, Logan. He really, really does, and I think it's beautifully choreographed at times and very, very effective. So I really do quite like this one. If I'm going to be a bit controversial here, I'm actually going to say that this is my favourite Wolverine film. And I'm not saying this is better than Logan. I think it's just the tone of Logan that I don't like. I don't like as much as this. This is more adventurous and action based, and more superhero-y, I suppose. Whereas Logan almost feels like, well, it is really like a gritty drama with superhero elements added to it, and it works beautifully for the conclusion to the character. But as a full-on Wolverine film, I think this one kind of, nails it for the most part. So let me know in the comments if you think I'm way off with my assessment of this film. Do you really dislike it, or do you, like me, actually quite enjoy it? So thanks for checking out this review, guys. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.